Welcome back to Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland. Thank you for joining us today. Bruce Woodburn's here alongside me. We're talking about interest rates, talking about sales. The sales
talking about opportunities.
They're going to start picking up. Inventory's holding steady. We're teetering on the edge of a buyer's market. Depends on where you're at.
We've gone down in inventory. We were at 7,000. Now we're only at 5. We went from a buyer's market to a balanced market
in 1 month.
In 1 month.
Yep.
And if interest rates do drop a little bit more, I think
we're
back into a seller's market. Here's the dilemma that I find. I find that, first-time home buyers, I understand they struggle with affordability, but they also are the last ones to see opportunity. And we try to share that opportunity with them. We try, and I don't know, maybe people think that's just a sales pitch, so we do more deals or something. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I can tell you right now, the signals are all over about buy right now because of the amount of inventory. And that's going to shrink. As soon as interest rates drop a little bit more, you're going to see that inventory just disappear. And then buyers are up against multiple offers again. And the first-time home buyer hardly ever wins in that situation.
And I cover a big area. My team and I do. I cover 6 counties, Bruce. And I'm a snapshot of what's going on in the market. And I will see I got multiple offers last week in a hot market, but that was an $800,000 house with no competitors anywhere around it.
Right.
Within a mile.
But if you're looking at that 385 property to 425,
I had one of those in Deltona, and let's say, so you picked 385, there was 10 people at 385. We listed for 379. I had an offer. It's all about market position, but you got to have somebody that can advise you on absorption rate, on sales, staging your house correctly,
price it properly.
Yeah. And that's really important you do that. So, but I want to dive into one thing. It's annoying. Everybody gets them. They know you're on the tax records. Spam in your email, spam on your phone, text messages from Bob, the investor, saying, I'll buy your house.
I thought Hawaiians love spam.
Yeah, well, that's different kind of spam. But it's funny. I get offers. My spam is full of these offers. And mainly these people they're in a basement somewhere in a call center pumping out offers all day long. And they have an algorithm that tells them, okay, for us to make money on your house, we need to pay you about 60 to 70% of what it's worth. And then, oh, by the way, if we go under contract and you take that offer, we're going to backpedal again. Because sometimes they're just trying to sell that contract they gave you for $450. They're just trying to sell that contract.
They're called wholesalers. What they do is they go under contract with you with no intention on buying it themselves. They're going to flip the property to another person, maybe an investor, or another wholesaler, or an individual, and hope that person is going to close by the time you're closing.
And I can tell, it's funny. I had one telling me, I said, I had a fixer-upper. I said, okay, great. Have you been through it? Oh, yes, I have. Well, how come you haven't opened the lockbox? What do you mean? I'm like, well, you're not on the electronic lockbox that shows that you went through the property. Oh, well, that's okay. My contractor looked at it. I'm like, whatever. And then sure enough, 5 days later, canceled the contract because they said, oh, it's going to cost too much. Well, they just couldn't sell that contract to somebody coming out of New England.
That's right.
Trying to tell them it's a valuable deal.
Right.
If you want top dollar, you've got to expose the house to the MLS, but you've got to know what's a lowball offer.
If somebody's coming in and offering you one of these sweet deals, it sounds
sight
like
unseen.
I'm just going to tell you, if it sounds really good to be, it's probably not really going to happen. So, but people are smart enough to know that. What happens though is they get it. It would be no different if you called me up and you said, hey, Bruce, what's today's interest rate? And I went, well, today interest rate for you on your credit score is 6.75. Oh, I got on a guy on the internet. He's giving me 5.25.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is not going to happen.
Yep.
I know it's not going to happen because I know what the cost of money is and I know where they're getting it from, but you don't know that. The consumer goes, well, wait a minute. How do I believe Bruce? How do I know I shouldn't believe this other guy? I'm just telling you, here's what we do to show clients where the actual market is. Who's the biggest mortgage company in the world right now? The only one that's bigger than we are. But they do wholesale there. We're the biggest. Rocket Mortgage. So you know what I do? They're the most popular. So that's where people always go to shop. I'll shop it for you on the Zoom call with you. On my Zoom call, we look at my rates, we look at Rocket's rates, we look at Wells's rates, we look at Bank America's rates, and then you tell me that my programs aren't the best.
And it will get closed on time.
And I'll close it fast. You can't close it.
And they can call and get a live person
can't
here.
Close a deal in 45 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible.
I won't take anything from the big banks. I won't take it.
Most realtors won't. If you have questions, You want the right mortgage for you. First-time home buyer, move-up buyer, vacation home buyer, self-employed, no tax returns, DSCRs for investors, physician loans, rehabs, construction perms, home equity line of credit, whatever type of loan you need, the loan arranger's right here and I'm in your backyard. You can call me now at 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. You don't miss our investor wealth building workshop on June 18th. Go to webringyouhome.com. Cleve and I will be there live and in person. We're going to have drinks, we're going to have food, but we're going to get down to business. Please leave the kids at home because we got a lot of work to do. So that when we want you to come to this event and leave going, I am empowered and I feel like I'm capable of doing this.
Well, I've got somebody that just called me from one of the seminars we did last year talking about it, and they're ready to go now.
Yeah.
You got them
Took them
straightened
a
out.
year, huh?
Well, I mean, but you got them straightened out. They had some things to work on, had a lease.
Sometimes that happens.
But the first step, it's like, this is the first step. I always think of that. There's what's not Marvel, the DC movie, the Batman's yelling at the Flash. He's like, come on, do something. Just save one. Just save one. Just save one. Just do one. And I have met hundreds of buy and hold investors, and they are millionaires, Bruce.
Yes.
Buy and hold.
Yes.
So which leads me to my next topic.
How many renters have you met that are rich?
Zero.
I don't meet.
Actually, I know some 90-year-olds in my dad's assisted living.
Yeah, but they weren't renters all their life.
Weren't. No, they were not.
Only a renter now.
They were not. But I want to talk about Airbnbs. I got an article here on how a Spanish court ruled against Airbnb and orders a shutdown of 66,000 listings.
A Spanish court?
A Spanish court. So this is nationwide in Spain.
Okay, in
shut
Spain.
Down. Now, I'm not sure if this is one city. Short-term
well, it's probably because they got flooded.
Yeah. Well, what it is who fights you being an Airbnb owner?
The neighbors.
No. Well, who fights you more? The hotels.
The hotels.
Who's that take from? Because now you go on a Marriott site.
There's other issues with those Airbnbs in some areas because they're having a problem in Venice.
They are.
Italy right now.
Yep.
Because all the Airbnbs are for people and there's nowhere for the people that work there to live.
Yep.
And so now they can't get enough people to actually go to work in Venice, Italy.
So you got a lot of control
for them to stay.
So here's what I've seen with Airbnbs since their history. I've met some people that have made great money on them. But one of the first gentlemen, we literally had Airbnbs here in the 70s.
Sure.
Around Disney.
Of course.
All those homes, they sell them furnished. They offer a great commission to the agents. And you're going to rent it out for X amount of dollars a week. I don't know if you can do daily rentals now, but that's been going on around the attractions in Central Florida for a long time, for 50 years. But I met a gentleman who retired from the hotel business. He had sold a couple hotels and he moved over there. He bought his own home and he bought 4 of those rentals.
Right.
And he said, it is a job. And it's like checking people in and out. And that's the thing I see. I see the people that just do Airbnb, put their house online, give it to a manager. They're lucky to rent more than half the year.
I'm going to tell you, I did it. Okay. Yeah. I did it. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it on my 2 Daytona properties. And I'm be honest with you, I don't do it anymore. It's too much work for me. I don't want a job. Yep. I want passive income.
Yep.
So you got to decide now, if you want to spend time, then maybe Airbnb is right for you.
And that's the thing I see about if you're just Airbnb and let a management company have it, you're going to get it rented. Maybe if you're lucky half the year and okay, great. Christmas and New Year's, you get double, but you got to work it. And this is also the other thing. You got to make sure you want the people to come back. You get repeat customers. It makes it much easier the next time. So they got to have a 5-star experience. So all these things that come into play, it is a job for you to work on. And I've met some people that did well at it, but most people, I flipped 4 people last year because everybody came here during COVID, 2020, 2021. We were the only place open, 2022, and bought Airbnbs. Guess what's on the market now? A bunch of Airbnbs because they can't rent them out. All the states are open.
Flooded too. And if the economy slows down and people aren't traveling as much and you got all these Airbnbs and
I flipped them back to long-term rental because they were making more. They were only renting about 1 or 2 weeks a month. They weren't making any money.
Sure.
Long-term rental was more steady for them and relieved some stress for them.
Absolutely.
So that's why we do the Leapfrog class, buy and hold long-term real estate. If you're going to have a condo at the beach, okay, maybe you do it. You rent month. It is a job, but you got to understand that it is not as glamorous. I love watching some of the vacation shows. They're on the lakes up in Michigan and during the summer, and they do the math for you and say, "Oh, this is going to rent 3 weeks out of 4." And you're going to.
I don't believe the math on any of those rehabs either. I watched them. the zombie here in Orlando. And I'm like, you can't do that for that.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
renovated enough houses. That's baloney.
Yeah. If it's on TV, it's probably not true.
Listen,
So,
if you have questions about buying a home, selling a home, investing in real estate, mortgages, self-employed, first-time home buyer, you got any questions, that's what Cleve and I are here to help you with. We don't get paid big money to do this show. Our agents are not that good. They're not getting us enough money. So we do it.
We need new agents.
But we do it because we care about our customers and we care about you. We want you to have successful investments. We don't have any skin in the game in it, but if you want a great realtor, I want you to think about who has got the history, who's got the proven track record. Cleve Loveland, Loveland Properties. I want you to just call Cleve when you want to buy a home or sell a home. He can be reached at 407-352-8118. Same phone number for the last 85 years.
Yep.
They didn't even have the 407 when he first got that number. It wasn't even available. We only had 7-digit numbers.
Question for you, Bruce. I got some stats here. I thought this was kind of interesting. The top states, and I don't know what it is for Florida. We weren't in one of the top states for all cash purchases. And I was astounded.
I'm surprised.
It was rankings, these states, and this is New York and Delaware and Georgia and everything. And it was actually like 30 to 40% on some of these states are cash to deals.
40% are cash.
And I haven't seen how to track that here in Central Florida.
Now you first-time home buyers know what you're up against, and they like buying good. They are interested in the same properties that first-time home buyers are, and because they're good rentals.
And here's the thing. That's why being fast-tracked, you've got a little bit of an advantage.
Yes.
The cash buyer thinks they are worth, unless they know they're in a multiple offer situation, they think they're worth a 10% discount. They're not. They're worth a 1 or 2% discount because they can close in 2 weeks.
But some of these guys are paying full price even at them.
I don't see too much. That depends on their agent, depends on how they start.
I've seen it.
But I think the important thing to know, you can tell somebody, Bruce, because if I put down 5% or if I put down 30, do I get a better rate?
Well, you may not get a better rate, but you'll have a lower payment.
But does down payment help on rate?
Absolutely. Well, the answer to that question is yes, you can get a better rate with more money down.
Okay.
Until you get to a certain point. Then when the loan amount starts getting too low, then the pricing starts going up. So there is sweet spots. There's sweet.
I love doing this show.
But I got a client right now. Listen to this. I'm able to get them a better interest rate with 5% down versus 20% down. Now, here's why. That all changed about 5 or 6 years ago. Fannie Mae realized that their default ratios were lower if you had PMI, and they had more protection than if you put 20% down. So their risk-based pricing is slightly worse. Remember, they did that whole thing where the good buyers are going to pay the supplements for the lower.
Yep.
That happens.
Okay.
That's actually a real deal.
Here's my question for you. So I put 5% down and I got PMI and I had a bunch of cash. I could have put down 40%. Can I recast that a year later?
You can.
And then have
you can recast it.
Well, when I recast, can I get rid of my PMI, or I still need to pay 2 years?
You can get rid of the PMI.
There we go.
Now, remember, when you recast to get rid of PMI, you've got to be at 78% loan to value, not at 80.
Understood.
Okay. So you need an extra 2%.
But this is what we learned with the Loan Arranger, telling us what's going on with his gazillions of products and everything going on.
My wealth of knowledge.
As you do have a plethora of that. So next, coming up on break here, Bruce, you want to reach me about helping you be a landlord, being a good landlord. You want me to manage your properties. I will make sure I squeeze every dollar out of those that I can. You will get your late fees. You will get your rent on time, and you
review their credit and their
investment property. Investment property will pay you like it should. Call me at 407-352-8118. We get back, I'm going to do some listings, Bruce. You can go to cleveloveland.com, take a look at my listings, and we'll be right back after this. Bruce, did you give your number?
Nope. You can reach the Loan Arranger right now at 407-250-9144. I've got every loan program you could possibly ever need and a bunch you never even heard of. They don't matter, though, because you're likely going to call me for meat and potato mortgages. I've got them. I service them. I originate them. I close them. Everything's done in-house. The Loan Arranger. I'll compare my pricing with anyone. 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. Cleve and I will be back in 5 minutes with the last segment of the Loveland Report and the Loan Arranger Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.